tell you, the resellers are they're the most dangerous in this industry. And the reason is they don't have a real vested interest when it comes to supporting their sales. What do I mean by that? I mean a foreign company authorizes these people to sell their product. They buy a small amount of inventory and they sell it as they can. But if they all of a sudden aren't making enough money or don't feel like doing it anymore, then all of a sudden that branch closes. And the people that have purchased machines from them are sitting with support 5,000 miles away. So what you have to understand about the resellers is they're not really offering anything to their consumers or the customers. Okay? All right, let's continue on. Review websites. I'm going to say this real quick about these. There aren't any unbiased review websites on the internet. Okay? Consumers Reports has not done ionizers yet. So anything that your prospects are looking at that says this is a review, this is an unbiased review website, I will tell you right now, and if anybody from any of these sites wants to counter me, I invite them to. If they say it's unbiased, they are liars. Okay? I'll say it right now. There are no unbiased. And what unbiased means is you have an interest in the results of their review. Okay? So there aren't any. So when your people say, well, I saw this thing online, what you need to explain to them is that's a marketing website. That is not a review website. And if they say, well, who owns it? You say, whoever they said was number one. That's right. Now, you guys want to know the real funny part? We're always ranked number 2. Okay? Always. So at least, if they're going to lie about them being number 1, they at least put the real people closest to number 1 that should be there. I like that giggle. That was good. Okay, here's the thing about the competition. In my opinion, they are making a mockery of our efforts. And just so you know, people, I'm kind of passionate about things. And I really get pissed off when I hear all this stuff about the competition. And it's because I know that what's happening is that these guys, all they care about is the bottom line. Do you think they share water? No, you want to know why? There's a couple reasons. One is they can't support it. Their machines can't do it. The other is they don't care enough. They don't care enough. They're trying to separate somebody from their money. That's what the bottom line is for them. Has anybody here sampled anybody over a year without them buying a machine? Honestly, whoever it is, maybe family member, whatever. Because I know I have. Matter of fact, I've done it for somebody for almost 3 years. And I'll keep doing it. You want to know why? Because it's helping him and he's my friend. Okay? It's not about me making a sale. And that's the important piece when it comes to the competition. You guys need to understand that. That's one of our strongest selling points when it comes to the competition. Here's something that I don't know if you guys even know. Enagic has been forced recently to issue warnings about this stuff on the Enagic website. A company like this, let me tell you something. When we were having all these problems at the beginning with all these different people and competitors saying all this stuff, Enagic's position was one of a very unique place in business. It was one of honor. And they said, we don't want to stoop to their level and get in this back and forth with them. But these other companies forced them to. They forced them to take legal remedies. They force them to. So on their website, you've got beware of knockoffs. That shouldn't have to be Enagic's front page sometimes. Beware of imposters. And then you got guys like Rob Gray. I'd love to meet this dude.
Line ball.
To have to issue a warning about a specific individual, that's just a sad state. Especially when somebody's saying that they're trying to help people, because this dude's not. Okay? But for Enagic to have to do that, it tells you that these guys have really, really done some negative stuff. And it's not that Enagic's mad at them, it's that it's unfounded information and it's not accurate. Okay? This is what happens, okay? This is one of the main things. The consumers will dupe consumers with a lot of things like technical sounding stuff, okay? This is a new technology to this marketplace. People are unfamiliar with it. So if you throw out a lot of dazzling, fancy sounding terms, it makes your product sound better, right? So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that. Feel free to use this with your own customers, okay? So some people might think that this sounds somewhat impressive. The HP air circulation and conditioning apparatus. Now what the issue is though, guys, is that Once you know what it actually is, it's easy to see through the deception, okay? And when you find out that HP does not stand for Hewlett-Packard, it stands for hand-powered, you can make anything sound impressive. Anything, and that's what these guys do as a job, okay? You need to realize that. The features, I love this guy. This guy's my favorite, because whenever I hear about the competition, this is the vision I get in my head. Hey, guy. They're spin masters, okay? What's a spin master? It's someone who can take a flaw and turn it into a feature. They turn their babble into benefits. They turn their garbage into gold, okay? I'm going to give you a quick, a couple different examples. Technological gimmick. The mesh plates. You guys have all heard about the mesh plates, right? Well, here's what the problem is. They're trying to say there's a greater surface area with mesh. In theory, they're actually right. Did you guys know that? That in theory, using a mesh or a slotted type technology would create more surface area. But that's if the plate was an inch thick. Because then each one of those inch-thick holes creates surface area inside. But when your plate is the thickness of a piece of paper, doesn't apply. All it is some holes. Okay? They manipulate that explanation. That's their mainstay. That's what they end up doing. There's nothing high-tech about that. I'm sorry, you guys. Does this thing have a... Where is it? Is it? Yeah, that's not a very bright one. I'm pointing to those things over there that look like little fly swatters. That's not high tech, I'm sorry. Okay? SMPS, anybody get hit with this one? Oh, they've got the SMPS switch mode power supply. Let me tell you a little bit. There's a dirty little secret about SMPS. If you understand the technology, SMPS is an electrical flow that is very similar to anti-lock brakes. You guys know how anti-lock brakes work? There's a little tiny computer in there that when you slam on your brakes, it sends a message to a computer that creates a pulse that has your brakes go really fast. Because the way you lose control when you slam on the brakes is by your brakes locking up. So this little computer makes it go really fast so the brakes don't lock, you remain in control of your car. It's the same thing, but it's the electrical impulse that's going to the machine. Now here's what the problem is. It goes half on, half off. That's basically what it is. And it's full on or full off. Which means if you run one of these competition machines with an SMPS power supply for 4 minutes, approximately 2 minutes of that, there's no juice. There's no electricity. How do you make electrically charged ionized water without electricity?
You don't.
So how much of their water is actually ionized? And then I ran across this. This was actually kind of interesting. This is from a website of a competitor, and they're explaining SMPS. And basically what they say is, we have a 300 watt ionizer, but because we have an SMPS system, it's half on, half off. So what gets created is an average of those two, which is 150 watts. So basically, and you guys have seen this, I know, you've seen these companies saying, we've got a 400 watt machine, we've got a 450 watt machine. But with an SMPS, they don't. It's a 200 or a 250. I mean, they're manipulating everything, and that's why it's important for you to educate yourself so you really understand what they're doing so that when it happens, when your prospects run into it, because they're going to. Don't fool yourself into thinking they're not going to, okay? But when they do, you're prepared to handle it, okay? Dual filters. This one's very easy. If you need dual filters, because you got one taking stuff out and one putting stuff in. And that's exactly what happens. So the first one is taking things out. The second one is actually adding alkaline-rich minerals so that when you test it, it tests stronger with the actual drops. That's why there's dual. I want you guys to understand, if any of the stuff that's up here was actually this cutting-edge stuff, Enagic would already be using it. And since we're not, you already know, if Enagic doesn't have dual filters, there's a reason. It's not necessary. Because we don't have to put stuff in the water to make it have the properties that we want. It does it because the technology is the best in the industry. Yes. I'll take a woo with that one, absolutely. Okay, the autofilter. This one's hard to explain. You guys know that it's the amount of time that water is in contact with the plates that really generate the properties. So what they do is they actually put a restrictor in their ionizers. It will physically slow down the flow of the water so that it has to be in contact with the water, with the plates longer. So you guys know with ours, You just turn on our water, you're good to go. Matter of fact, Enagic actually says, turn it on faster. Whereas the other guys say, run it at a trickle. And in most cases, that's all the machine will do. Has anybody ever actually looked to see when the other machine's running? You fill up a gallon of ours in about, what, minute and a half, so? You fill up a gallon of theirs, almost 5 minutes. Okay? That's the difference. It's because of stuff like this. The temperature shutdown, this is one of my favorites. So, because of the poor craftsmanship and the way that they make their plates, they put in here a temperature shutoff. It's a thermal switch, so if it gets too hot, the machine will automatically turn itself off.
Wow.
Okay? Because literally, the plates could melt. Now, I want you guys to understand, I'm going to talk consumer lingo with you right now on something that everybody in the United States understands, cars. If you bought a car that had a feature that whenever it got too hot, it shut itself off, that would not be real good if you're on the 405 going 70 miles an hour. Okay? So I don't know how something like that can be spun into a feature, but they've done it. Okay? Certifications. This is a new one that now needs to be addressed because obviously, as soon as Enagic, again, shows their might in the industry, these other guys want to say, oh, we're the same thing, okay? Let me talk about the certifications real quick. You guys already know this. I covered the ISO stuff. The WQA, those are the NSF and the ANSI. That's the stuff that they need for the health department regulations. These are all the things that Enagic has, okay? Now, unfortunately, what the competition has done is kind of manipulated everything. Like Life Ionizers, they say they have gold, they have WQA gold seal certification. And you know what, you guys? I'm going to tell you right now, they do. However, it's NSF ANSI 372, which has nothing to do with water produced from the machine. That certification is for amount of lead in the product itself. It has nothing to do with the water being produced. Now, Enagic has the same one, but we have two others that are exclusively about the water produced. That's the difference, okay? The ISO 9001 with Life Ionizers, it's not Life. It's Tech who manufactures the products. But they say we're ISO rated. Exactly, that look. You need to flip that camera to her right now. Janssen, member of the WQA. The actual member is Janssen Water Company Limited in Taiwan. It's not Janssen USA. Okay, so they're misrepresenting. Jupiter and Ion Ways, they all say that they have 9001, and again, Jupiter and Ion Ways is made by Tech, who has that certification. Okay, so they manipulate it. I want to show you real quick. This is actually on the Life Ionizers website. And after this is over, it probably won't be. I'm going to tell you that right now. Why? Because he sends the spies up here to see what I'm talking about. They change their stuff all the time. That's why I have to stay one step ahead and always check out what they're doing. Okay, I do. Well, that's what happens when you have a virtual company and a virtual presence. You can change it like that, you know. So they have this listed. They talk about how important NSF is when it comes to products, okay? And if you go to, and this is actually on their website down here. Now, it's real hard to see. There's like fine print there. These are the actual products that say they have NSF certification. These are the actual products. Okay, now again, they're stressing this. So you got a shower head, some jug pumpy thingy, and a couple of filters. Those are what they have. Now, none of them are actually ionizers. So wouldn't you think that Life Ionizers, who are touting about this, you know, how important NSF is, would have something that would really be about the water that the machine produces, not just the machine itself? As far as, and again, it's lead content in the machine, like in the plastics and in the stuff. If you're going to promote the NSF, wouldn't it make sense if Life Ionizers did it when it actually applied to ionizers?
For sure.
Now, what's funny is most consumers would think that that was the case, and that's what they assume, and that's exactly what Life Ionizers wanted. Mm-hmm. The comparisons, these are fun. I'm going to answer your phone if you don't turn it off. I wish Sonia was here. She's in like Asia right now. It happened in a training one time. Her phone rang, and I actually jumped off stage, went in there, and I answered it. She can't talk right now. Bye. Keep your phones off. Okay, here's the deal, you guys, with the comparisons, okay? In marketing, the reason that companies compare is you've got an inferior product trying to elevate themselves to a superior product. Bottom line, we know this as consumers. You guys have seen the commercials a million times. Something that's down here is trying to be something that's up here, and they want to make a comparison. Here's the bottom line when it comes to explaining this to your prospects. Whoever's being compared to is the best. Period. If you're doing the comparing, you're the inferior product. Who does Enagic compare themselves to?
No one.
One more time?
No one.
Exactly, okay? Are they really the same thing? You got two cars that look very similar, but there's a huge price difference between them. Why? Because it's in the things you can't see. It's in all those things listed there. Those are the things that make up the price of something, okay? And here's a question for your prospects. Would you test drive a Mercedes and then go buy a Hyundai based on that test drive?
No.
And if you say no, and some of you are chuckling, but if you say no, then the question is this: why do our prospects test drive our water and then go buy a Hyundai? Because they get duped into believing that it's the same thing. Well, here's a reality, folks. If there's not a test drive offered, there's probably a reason. I've always thought that a picture paints 1,000 words, you know? Okay, here's some of the stuff too when it comes to the actual plates. On the left-hand side there is one of our plates. On the right-hand side is the little fly swatter thingy. That's just a little comparison so you can see them side by side. The bigger picture, on the left you've got the top-of-the-line Jupiter machine. And on the right you've got a Sunnis plates, a DX2 plate, and an SD501 plate. Now I want you to understand the Sunnis plate was the smallest product that we had as far as the plates were concerned. Our Sunnis is bigger than their top of the line. It's right there, folks. Matter of fact, I think it's in your manual too. Closer look. I mean, again, you're done. These are not the same thing, right? They're not the same thing. I want to take you through a quick factory tour because I think if you haven't seen this, you need to. And and I'm not comparing. I just want to show you side by side. On the left-hand side, you've got the Chanson. It's a Chanson factory in Taiwan. The right one is Enagic. Now, I want to say that again. The one on the left is Chanson. The right one is Enagic. Okay, so on the left, we've got the little worker bees busy building filters. The filters that are going to filter out your water, that their hair is falling into, that they're sneezing into and breathing into. While on the right, you have Enagic, who must take their aspect of filtration a little bit more serious, because that's the production of their filters. And that lady looks like she's ready to draw blood, not make a filter. Okay? The welding station at Chanson. It's awesome. I love the rust on the big tanks. Those are cool. The welding station at Enagic. Do you see a difference? Maybe there's a reason for the price difference. The technicians building side by side. I mean, come on, you guys, seriously? Look at these pictures, okay? And again, Chanson on the left, Enagic, the right one. But for your prospects that insist on buying price instead of quality and benefit, I want you to be prepared. You have a person who comes up to you and says, hey, look, I saw an ionizer for $2,000. Or I saw an ionizer for $1,000. I saw an ionizer for $500. I want you to go like this. You know what? I didn't realize that price was your biggest concern. I thought you wanted benefit from your machine. If price is your biggest concern, no problem. For the low price of only $159.95, you too can own a Hidden Cures G2 batch ionizer, which is basically comprised of things that look like cookie jars with an electrical current flowing through them. This is real, you guys, and the reason that I like to do this is because I think it speaks volumes to the seriousness of understanding that price is indicative of quality. Okay? And if somebody really is looking for the lowest price, I'll say, okay, prove it. This is the lowest one. Buy it and use it. You really want the lowest price? Here you go. I don't, because a lot of times when they see something like that, it's like a slap in the face, and they realize, and not a slap in the face like a bad thing, it's to wake them up. And they realize, wow, you know what, maybe I've been looking at this wrong. I need to really consider the aspect of the benefit I'm getting, not just the price I'm paying. Because seriously, do you look for discount doctors? I mean, seriously, if you're going to a doctor, when was the last time you called up and made an appointment for a doctor and said, oh, by the way, doc, I was hoping you finished last in your class so I can get a discount. You never do that. You want the best person there, right? Why? Because your health matters. Well, this is a health-related product, so, hey, the quality matters. There are cheaper ionizers on the market, but what in the world does cheap have to do with health? Nothing. Don't let your prospects become the victims of the competition. And I'm saying victims of the competition, okay? Because in my opinion, they're victimizers, okay? Educate your prospects and empower them. You need to learn everything you can to know that you represent the gold standard. I'm going to do something a little bit different because I don't normally do this. I do not like to